flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on. Nothing, keep the flame on. Nothing, keep the flame, keep the flame, keep the flame on. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't nothing left. Going till there ain't nothing, keep the flame on. 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 Nothing, keep the flame, keep the flame, keep the flame on.
Nice, get bent. Come on, push, harder.
Oh, sick 360, bro.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, where you going?
So this is the mountain trike, and to call it an off-road wheelchair I think is a little bit of a disservice. This is more of a way for wheelchair users to experience the excitement, the joys and the freedom that mountain bike gives you. It's made up of mountain bike parts, as you can see, with the big chunky tyres, the off-road suspension and the disc brakes, which makes it quite a lot of fun to use. Okay, so to operate the mountain trike, and this is the Mountain Trike Evo that's designed for people with reduced hand function. It's quite simple. You just push forwards either with one hand or with both hands at the same time. To steer, you just turn this lever left or right and that moves the rear wheel, and to brake you just pry that one. So the mountain trike is designed to go off-road, so let's do a bit of that. We'll come into this a bit here, start off with some smaller twigs, pretty easy to go over, no issues, especially with the suspension. Got some slightly bigger ones here, no issues there. Got some roots coming in here, see the brakes are pretty sharp. Let's go try and squeeze through this little gap. Some roots again, and now we're going uphill, so it's going to be a little bit trickier, but we're going to go with some roots as well. But seems to be absolutely fantastic at handling anything I throw at it. So what I like about the mountain trike the most is probably that the limit of it is me and what I'm capable of doing. If there's a hill that's steep, it's because I'm not strong enough to get up it. With a lot of mobility products that I've tried, or even including my own wheelchair, the limit is usually the thing that I'm using. So it's quite nice to have the change where if I wanted to get better at it, I need to get fitter, which is quite a nice change instead of just not being able to do it full stop. When I'm going along smooth ground like this, super easy. The movement is really nice, glides along smoothly, and obviously with the suspension, smooths out all the bumps, which is really nice for any sort of gravel things. As we go uphill, it gets a lot harder, but you know, as I said, it's down to my capabilities rather than the trike. So I feel like I can get up most hills as long as they're not too steep or slippery. And then going downhill is where this comes into its own. So coming down the hill is actually where it gets a bit more fun. You have to be a bit careful though with the steering inputs and feathering the throttle too. So just gently making sure that you're not going to go too fast, because if you go too fast or steer too sharply, you'll easily fall out. But once you do get going, you get the confidence. Oh boy, is it fun. Right, so we're about to come to a hill where I'm going to go up this time and try and talk to the camera whilst I'm going up at the same time, which is going to be a challenge in itself. But as I do it, I want to explain one of the great things about mountain trike. And well, first of all, it's made in Great Britain, where I'm from, which is pretty awesome. And secondly, when I normally go out and about in my wheelchair, as the incline gets steeper, I normally get cold, wet, mucky hands. And as you can see, my hands do not get muddy at all as I come up here, which is so awesome. It really is. If anybody's a wheelchair user and they've been outside and it's raining, they know what it's like to have cold, wet hands. I'm using the active hands here as well in conjunction with it, which means that they're staying nice and warm too. You know, you can put gloves over the top as well, which would be even more awesome. So yeah, as to the pleasurable experience, let's see if we can get to the top of this hill, eh? Oh, come on. There we go. As I said, the limit is me, not the chair. Cool. So before we finish here, I just wanted to go through some questions that I had from you guys in the community about the mountain trike and some other little bits and pieces that I thought would be interesting for you. So let's get the elephant out of the room first with this, which is the price of it. Yes, the mountain trike is expensive. However, if you were going to buy a fully kitted out mountain bike with all the bells and whistles, which is essentially what this is in a wheelchair form, you're looking about the same sort of price realistically. Yes, it's expensive, but it does kind of reflect what you are getting in the equivalent in the able-bodied world, which is actually quite rare amongst stuff like this. So that's pretty cool in terms of that. But again, yes, it's a lot of money. So what I will say, the person who this is for is not the sort of person who's going to just think that's something cool, I want to try it. This is for somebody who's really into going out in the wilderness. You want to be there, you know, several times a week, really enjoying it, bombing down the hills, going all over the dirt paths, and really committing to it. And I think that is exactly who it's for. And I think if somebody like that would to get something like this, you'd really, really get your money's worth. I think everybody else though would really benefit from this being in places like country parks and various other state parks or whatever it might be, where like the organisation owns it, and then you go along and try it for an hour, 2 hours, or the day, or whatever it might be, and then you just tried it for that time, and then you come home without it, and it stays at the location, and you know they rent it out to various people. I think that would be so awesome. If you're somebody that works on those sort of things or that, highly recommend this. This allows people like myself and wheelchair users to get out into the countryside and really, really enjoy it. So highly recommend it for that situation. But yes, expensive, but I think definitely worth it for the right people. So let's talk about transferring in and out, because that's something that I need to do myself, and so I assume somebody else would. These handles here do move out of the way, and the foot plate does flap up, which makes the transfer a lot easier. However, it's not the easiest transfer in the world, so you might find that you have to have assistance depending on your level of ability. But I think if you're able to transfer in and out of a car yourself, you'll probably be able to do this. That's sort of the equivalent thing, I reckon, getting in and out of the car yourself. Then transporting it. Now, you can't really get around the fact this is a bit of a beast. It's big, it's wide, but it does do some folding down. So the back does fold down, the rear wheel folds round, and it does get quite small. And we got it in the back of Henry's Ford Focus, which isn't the biggest car, which is pretty cool. You know, it's not an estate, it's just a hatchback. So yeah, getting in the back of the hatchback was okay. Wouldn't go in the back of my car, but I've got a really small boot opening on mine, so not the end of the world. So again, if you were somebody that had a small car, you might struggle to get this further. So maybe if you've got places you can go from your house and that, these are things to think about when you're getting it, I would say. Somebody asked about stability while you're in it. Now, I've got no core stability. I have got pretty good balance. However, the way this is designed on the backrest, you've got plenty of back support. There's quite a lot of dump in the bucket, and when you've got the handles, these offer a support because you're kind of locked in there. So I found that there was no real point where I was struggling to stay upright. I felt completely secure, even more so than my regular day chair, and no issues. And plus, having the suspension in there means that everything's really smooth. So you're not going over bumps and you're going like flying out to the side. It just glides over them really nice and smoothly. No issues there whatsoever with that. And lastly, somebody said, how hard is it to push? And I did cover it a little bit earlier in there, and I think that it's actually pretty easy. Going downhill, super fun, super quick. On flat land, really easy. I think it's easier than a wheelchair. However, when you get to a bit of an incline, that's when it starts getting tough, and I think it does get really tough, and I think that a regular wheelchair is easier in that sense. But I think it allows me to get up some hills that I wouldn't be able to get up in a wheelchair by myself. So in some ways it's harder, but it's easier. The best thing to do is to go give this a try, and you can do that by clicking in the link down below. You can go to Mountain Trike's site, see if they've got some in your area that you can trial out, find out where these are located, because they are in some parks and that, so go have a check out of that. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm good friends with the company Mountain Trike, so they just sent this out for me for trial, but they're not paying me for this, they're just loaning me the chair for a bit to have a go. So all these thoughts are completely my own. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop it down below. I will answer it myself, or I can send it on to them and they can answer it too. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy that video. Please hit like, subscribe, especially if you want to see more videos like this. Then, if you want to help support the channel, go buy some merchandise in the link below or Patreon. There's loads of links below, basically. Go check them all out. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.